Back again for another week of the Blue Corner. This week we're going back to the world of MMA. I have one of our young prospects with me on the podcast today. He has a record of 10-1, with the MMA side of it being 4-1. I believe. I mean, we'll get into it, but I believe he's just signed an exclusive contract, and he's about to turn pro. But yeah, I'm talking about none other than Deadshot MMA, which is Lachlan Stitt. How are you? I should say welcome first. How are you, and how has 2022 been treating you?
Good to be here. It's been good. Still training quite a bit and staying on the same goal of becoming a world champion.
So, I mean, look, for people that don't know you, I guess we'll take it right back to the beginning. I mean, I should even say, just because, today is Thursday, did you get up too much yesterday?
Not really. I was actually working. I work as a security guard, so I've got to get that double time. That wasn't too bad.
And with the security, is that does that keep you in or out of trouble?
A little bit of both, it depends what the cameras cover, there's always a couple of blind spots.
Because I always find, right, with security guards, it's like you get one set of security guards that are there to obviously try to stop anything from happening.
Yeah.
But I do feel that there are securities out there that are looking for action.
Yeah.
And I guess it makes it a bit different with you, obviously, being a fighter yourself.
Yeah.
Like, are there higher consequences? Do you have to watch, I guess, your movements a little more than, say, your average person because you do know how to fight?
Yeah, well, where I work in the Camden area at Camden Valley Inn, it's quite a low-key kind of spot, more family-orientated. We get a couple of young people through there and whatnot, but most of them are actually fans and love to tune into my stuff and really interested in my fighting career and whatnot. So it's a very easy job, so you just sort of kick back, make some money, and enjoy it.
Nice. And did you get up to much for New Year's, or same thing, work up that double time?
Not New Year's. No, I didn't work over New Year's and whatnot. So it was just eating a lot, same as Christmas, eating and drinking. So I enjoyed my time off very well.
So eating to the point of COVID pounds, or like, have we put on weight over this Christmas holiday?
No. I sort of stick to the 86, 87 kilo mark. Even depends what I eat. I can't put on weight anyway, so it works out good for me. But I just got to watch it as I get a bit older. I'm 22 now, so I just got to keep an eye on my diet and maybe move up to middleweight, light heavyweight. Who knows?
I was going to say that is an age thing, because I remember for the longest time, I reckon until I was about 30, I literally hovered between 73 to 75 kilos.
Yeah.
Right? Then I hit 32, got up to 82 kilos.
Shit.
Right?
Yeah.
And now I probably sit around this 87 to 88 kilos, right? I mean, obviously you're a little more active as when you're younger as well, but that youth, and because the thing is, I was never a healthy eater either, right? So I just couldn't put on more weight. I just wouldn't. I mean,
Yeah, I got the long limbs too.
Right. I was going to say, when you walked in, the first thing I said was you're in the wrong sport. You should be playing basketball. Have you ever considered playing basketball?
Yeah, I did when I was younger, but they just seemed to be always kicking me off the field for fighting. So that didn't work out too well. I'd only play probably a quarter to half a game, and I'd be booted off to the bench warmers.
And why is that? Hey, would you say you have a bit of a temper on you, or?
I did back then, of course. Yeah, just being a 14, 15-year-old kid, I just love to sort of fight. And I didn't have that outlet yet because I didn't properly start training MMA till I was 15. So I didn't really have that outlet that I do now. And that it all just sort of builds up. And you just need that release. And that's why I enjoy fighting. I do enjoy it.
And so growing up, I believe, we're not going to hold it against you, but I believe you're a Queenslander.
Yeah. Yes. Proud.
You're originally C proud.
Yeah, proud Queenslander.
You know, me, I'm all blue all day,
course.
especially when it comes to the state of origin as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, how is life as a kid? I mean, where did you grow up in Queensland, and how is life as a kid in the Sunshine Coast?
Well, I grew up in MMA in Mackay, which is up in North Queensland. So that's probably 4 hours north of south of Townsville. And it's sort of a mining town, so there's not really much happens there. And just it's quite a quiet town. Nothing, there's nothing serious that sort of goes down. But just schooling and stuff like that I went through. Then my parents sort of split up when I was 10, and that was pretty hard to deal with. And I sort of used like the anger of that and got myself into quite a bit of trouble and stuff, and moving around to different schools and whatnot. So that was hard to deal with. And then eventually they put me into this program called Boxing Bandits when I was at Mackay Northern Beaches State High School, and that sort of got me back into fighting, because I did karate when I was 6 years old, 6 to 11 I think it was, and just had too much energy. So my parents were like, you got to do something. So I did that, and then stopped it to play footy. That's a normal thing in Queensland for a kid, just play footy. And then played that for a bit, but I was too skinny to play footy, so they just put me out on the wing, and I'd never get the ball, so it was pointless playing. So I was like, oh, and that just made me even more angry, so then I'd fight more. But then once I started the boxing program, that was really good, because they gave us some incentive that at the end of the 10 weeks, you can like have a fight at the local pub. Like it was just in a ring and whatnot, gloves, headgear, stuff, and just rocked up and used to about the same weight. Yeah, you just can jump in there in front of all these people and just punched on. And then there was no winner. It was just a like exhibition sort of thing. And that sort of lit the fire again. So I went down to Mackay MMA under David Garnham there and started training. Trained there for about 12 months. And like I got really good. I was the only kid there. So I was just training with the adults. And that was like, thrown in the deep end. They were all pretty big boys too. And then my family decided at the end of the year, we're going to move to Sydney for work. And I was like, oh, wow, like that's a big move. So I finished school that year when I was 15 and moved down here to Campbelltown and started my electrical apprenticeship, which I thought was the best thing to do for my career, and started that. And then while I was working, I thought, I might as well get back into training here. So I looked up, and the local jiu-jitsu academy was Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, Smeaton, Grange. So I went down there, and I was training there for 12 months under Alex Prates there. Most people know that's Rob Whittaker's gym today. So he was training there as well, and I was just this little kid looking up to him, like, wow, this guy's cool. Like, he's a superstar in the UFC. And then I was like, I want to bring more striking into my game, not just the jiu-jitsu, because I was competing as a white belt then. So there was a mate at work who said, actually, there's a MMA gym around the corner from there, Triple X Fight Academy, so under Nathan Reddy. So I went down there and met Zane, my coach now, Zane Saliba. He was there. And I'll go home, grab your gear, and come back down. I said, okay, I'll come back down. Come back down, bloody nose, my first session, thrown straight into the deep end. I was like, oh, we're back in this again. But I've loved that place ever since I've been there, and that's definitely my home now. And yeah, I've been there since then. So that's 4 years ago now. It's my 5th year there. So I love that place, man. We actually moved from one side of Smeaton Grange. We're actually over at Smeaton Grange Road now in our new facility that Nathan sorted out for us. But that's an amazing facility, man. We got there. Very lucky to have it.
So also, where is Smeaton Grange?
So Smeaton Grange is just outside of Campbelltown. It's probably 15 minutes outside of Campbelltown. It's sort of like a business area. There's no houses or anything around it. It's all just a business park. Okay, nice. And do you still train with Rob, or since you've moved to Triple X now, you're done with Rob? Yes. So I was getting back to that in that I've trained at Triple X since, but now that I've sort of leveled up my game and now I'm almost turning pro, we've had to look at other gyms to train at. So I go down to the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu every Tuesday now for wrestling with their pro team, which includes Robert Whittaker, Jacob Malcoon, Izzy Dox, David Francis, the heavy hitters of the middleweight division in New South Wales.
Yeah, nice. I mean, we've had David on the podcast also, so it's kind of nice. And seeing Rob at the moment, and we'll get back to you in a sec, but seeing Rob at the moment and just seeing obviously what happened. What was it now? 2 years ago? No, it's longer than that because we've been in lockdown for 2 years. So 3 years ago,
2.5 or something.
2.5.
I'll say 2.5.
Something like that. It was in Melbourne. Yeah. Do you see a different Rob? Do you like mentally as well? Like, do you think, because like this, when you talk to people at the moment, there's this whole flip of the coin, right?
100%.
Like, people are like, we've already seen that fight. It's going to end exactly the same way it did the first time. And look, it could quite possibly end that way too, because I find that every time we see Izzy come out, he's leveled up as well. Like Izzy is one of these fighters that, he's at the top of the mountain, but he's still getting better. And that's the scary thing with him. But I remember the first time they matched up, I was actually working down there as a cameraman for the UFC. Yeah. And I was in Rob's corner for that fight. And I felt, look, there was, I don't know what it was. I thought it might have been more of a mental roadblock, but I just felt something wasn't right that night.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
And obviously he went and had that hiatus and had a little bit of a break and
which I think he needed. Yeah.
And now he's on the come up again, and
100%.
The last 2-3 fights he's had now, he's shown that he deserves that shot again.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, where do you see Rob now compared to where he was 2.5 years ago? And how do you, just because you have got that close association, how do you see that fight play out?
Look, he's a different beast. Like, he's having fun. He's in the gym. He's got a smile on his face. Every time we go in there, when we're on, we're training hard, but as well, there's that good camaraderie of their team, that they have each other's backs and whatnot. But I felt that there was a different sort of environment back when I used to train there. But now they're all happy. And when we train with him, and he'll get something on you and, give it to you. He'll give you a little giggle or he'll give you a little slap in the face that I got you. But which is good. That's the sort of like training that I enjoy. That's what you got to have fun with it. If you're not having fun, then why do it?
And I have to ask, as a training partner, is he? I mean, you say you have a bit of fun, but is he more vocal? Because the kind of times that I've had, time with him, whether it was like I've had a couple of interviews with him and things like that, he seems like that real mellow, quiet kind of guy. Obviously, in the back when he's getting warmed up, he eggs himself on. So I'm just wondering, like, in the training facilities, is he very vocal and loud, or is he still that kind of like keep to yourself kind of guy?
He's still quite mellow in that he's switched on. He knows what he has to do, but he's enjoying it, and I feel the vibe of him that he's enjoying his training, and he's having fun with it, and that's a dangerous guy, I guess, that when he's having fun, because if you watch his come up, when he got to the UFC, he was just smashing everyone. And then maybe he was training a bit too much or something like that, or something happened. I don't know him that personally to comment on what happened, but all I know is now he's a different beast, and I think he's going to take his head off, to be honest.
Nice. Look, I don't know. I don't know if it was overtrained or whatever. Once again, I think it was a mental roadblock, and I kind of see. Thug Rose talks about a lot as well. Sometimes is like when you're sitting at the top there. Just the pressure of being champion, the extra press conferences, the this, the that, and that's what I got from, I guess, Rob. As I said, like when we brush shoulders, like I've always seen him to be that kind of like stick to yourself. He's a family man,
of course. Yeah,
he doesn't. I mean, I'm sure he loves being champion. Everyone would, but I don't think he really like looks for the limelight. He's not that type of guy. He's not a Conor McGregor, if that makes sense, right?
Not. He's very humble, Very humble.
And so I just felt like maybe the pressures had got to him, especially the first two fights that he was meant to have, which was against Calvin, got pulled because of he had something going on where he had to have that last minute surgery.
Yeah.
And I just feel like he had a lot of pressure, like I have to turn up, I have to perform.
Yeah.
And I just think it just wasn't his night, you know. But
it can happen to everyone, anyway,
right?
You know.
But I guess also from your perspective, as I'll call you a young gun, and look, just to put it out there, you said you're 22. I'm 20 years your elder. I'm actually 42. So, being a young gun in the sport, like, what do you take away from training with people like your David Francis, your Jacob, your Robs? Like, what do you take away from the guys like that?
Everything, just everything. I sort of feed off that and go to them for advice and whatnot. And it's really good just to train with that caliber and to know that you're there for a reason and you're training with them for a reason. You know, you're not there just to muck around. You're there for a reason. They want you there, and you're a benefit to them. And that's a great experience, especially because I'm so young, and they've been in the sport so long, and they're so, they've been through that journey. They've been right to the top. But not only that team, even my own team with Nathan Reddy, he's come up, and to have his experience, my own coach Zane Saliba, he was on the Ultimate Fighter. So the people around me, when you put it all together, it's just unbelievable the amount of experience that I have to feed off, to learn off. It's just I couldn't ask for a better group of people around me.
So how do we get to where we are today in the sense of, you obviously, your parents put you into karate?
Yes.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Did you enjoy karate when you first did it?
No, I didn't. I enjoyed it, but it was just so much discipline that I didn't really like that part of it. So I'd get there, I'd make my parents drop me off. Like, I only trained twice a week, 2 hours. So 2 hours out of your time for the week. That's all we ask. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I went down there, but I used to get down there half an hour early because we used to just run around on the mats, and I could hurt everyone on the mats, and then we'd train. So we used to wrestle and stuff. So I'd try and hurt as many people as I could because I used to, I don't know why, but I used to just enjoy going there and smashing people before training. And then you'd get to training, and then once that would start, you're sort of on. You can't sort of misbehave where you'd have to go and do push-ups and sit-ups and all this sort of stuff. But look, it was good. I look back on it now, and it was good for me. And I'm glad that I did it. But at the time, I can just remember, oh, man, I don't want to do this. But then my parents said, if you get to your brown belt, you don't have to do it anymore. You can do something else. I was like, okay. So I got to my brown belt when I was 10 or 11. And my brown belt grading was crazy, man. I was 11 years old, and these grown men were beating the shit out of me, bro, on a basketball court with no padding on the floor. There's this hardwood basketball court, and they're just throwing me around, kicking me around and shit. And I just remember bawling my eyes out, and they're just still smashing into me. My mum's crying watching me. But I think from that experience, that's what hardens you, because I've been through that sort of stuff. That, I would never forget that.
No, crazy. And I mean, it's kind of weird because I kind of had a journey. I think my first, and this is going back to when I was in primary school, my first discipline was judo.
Okay, yeah.
Same thing. My mother put me in. She thought it'd be good, discipline, whatever.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
Until I got to school.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I was that kid at school. I never, when we talk about bullying and stuff like that, I never had an issue. I was friends with everybody, right? Yeah. So that was never an issue.
Yeah.
But it was weird. It was as soon as kids, and this is primary school, so not even high school, as soon as kids found out that I was doing judo, suddenly they wanted to fight.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Right? So at recess and lunch, you'd have them, come on. And they wouldn't say judo kid. They'd call me karate kid. They're like, come on, karate kid. And they'd kick you in the leg and stuff, trying to get a reaction out of you, you know? And I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I even going to these classes when now I am kind of getting picked on, right? It was kind of
strange that why you're getting picked on now when you are training.
Right. And sense, usually it's the opposite. It's kids that get picked on, they get put into karate, judo, whatever.
And they get left alone. But now you're the opposite.
It was the exact opposite, right? So it was I think it was too early for me. And it's the same. Look, I'm about to have a kid, and I think, you know,
Congratulations.
and thank you. And I think, you know, if I was going to start the kid in something now, I'd probably start him in BJJ.
Yeah, I think that too.
I just think it's a good discipline as well.
100%.
You know, you don't have to worry about the head trauma and all of the things that come with, obviously, full contact sports.
Yeah.
And you still know how to handle yourself, right? Like, I think,
100%.
but a weird thing about that story that you just said is, like, why did they say brown belt? Why would they want you to kind of, why wouldn't they say, we'll let you go once you get your black belt? Why would they go brown belt?
I look back now and I was like, I should have just got my black belt. Like, I was like, that would have been mad to have my black belt in karate as well. But I have my brown belt. Look, I don't know why they actually said brown belt. Like, maybe they didn't understand or something, but
but it doesn't matter if they don't understand. Everyone knows black belt is the black belt, right?
I know. That's what I don't get. Like, it would have only been another like year or 2 years or something, but I should have got it, and hopefully one day I can get it one day. But I should have got it, Smeaton.
And so how did you then go from, I guess, your standard karate? And I have to say, like, I previewed a couple of your fights. You can still see that karate background.
Yeah.
Just in your stance.
Yeah.
I find that obviously you've got that kind of karate stance, that real wide kind of thing. That,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
But how do we go from karate to, I guess, Muay Thai was then the next discipline?
The next one, yeah. So I did like I did the boxing program, which is just straight boxing, and then I trained MMA.
Hang on, going back with the boxing now. Yeah. I wanted to ask you this before when you were telling that story.
Yeah.
So the payoff on that was to fight at a pub.
Yeah.
And how old were you?
I was 15.
So they were allowing
14 or 15.
They were allowing 14 and 15-year-old kids into the pub to fight. I don't know if they get away with that in today's world. Yeah. Like, one, you're underage, and two, 100%. Like, what kind of it's like, I can just imagine, like, being at the pub.
Yeah.
You're having a few with your mates, and you're like, yeah, let's throw the kids in, and that's our form of entertainment.
That's like, exactly what it was. It was like, it was an amateur boxing night, and they just threw these like random like little shits that got up to mischief at school in there just for fun. Like, we didn't have, you know how you've got your red and blue corner singlets, but I had like a Kmart singlet on, shorts, and then like sneakers. Like, I didn't have boxing shoes or nothing, and I just sort of rocked up with my mouth guard. I didn't have wraps or nothing, so we just rocked up out the back. I think I was like second on the list or something, and like this dude that I was fighting was like, I reckon 15 or 20 kilos heavier than me, and he was Aboriginal. He was built like a brick shit house. He was massive. And then I was like, oh God, because I was probably the second biggest and he was the biggest in the program. So they just matched us together. Oh, you'll be right. Yeah. Legit, it was 1 minute, 3 1-minute rounds, and I was absolutely gassed after like 30 seconds because I just got in there. Once I got my hands wrapped out the back, I don't know, some random dude wrapped my hands, chucked the 16s on, put the headgear on. I don't know who the people that were in my corner, I've never seen them before. They just gave me water and cleaned my mouth guard. Got up there, my parents are yelling, you know, cheering me on and stuff, and the whole place is full of pissed dickheads and carrying on. And you just walk up there. I don't know what song came on when I walked out. I didn't get a choice in that. Fucking knows what it was. Get in there and just swing away for 60 seconds. All right, rest. All right, go again. It was legit like just swing. And then he turned his back to me, and then the ref just pulled us apart. All right, go again, swing again. Like, we're just swinging at each other. I had no idea how to fight. It was literally just a street fight in a ring in some pub. That was literally what it was. Just two kids.
It's just
punching
bizarre
on.
Though, right?
Yeah, it's
like
crazy,
when you think about it, like, because you think about, like, you know, like pubs, they've had like, I don't know, jelly wrestling and you know, but like just to have kids and you're like, yep, let's let these kids. Did any kids like ever get hurt or anything, or was there any? I mean, you obviously, by the sounds of it, you kind of like the experience, but like, were there kids that were put in there that didn't really want to be in there? Like, did you ever find that you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say they were forced to jump in.
Nah,
but was there ever
a choice? Yeah,
yeah.
But like the kids that were in the program were kind of like me, so they weren't, you know, your A grade students, your teacher pet students. They were like, you know, the troublemakers and whatnot. Some of them, well, most of them were all my mates. So we used to love it because like we'd get an hour out of school. We'd walk down to the boxing gym. It was about 500 meters from the school. Go in there, train, come back to school, and you come back to school. You're cool. You've been at the boxing. You know, everyone knows you've been at boxing. I'm in the boxing program, bro. Like, you know, everyone sort of knew and all that, and they're cheering you on. Like, yeah, I'm gonna come watch you. You know, when's you gonna fight? And the catch was we had to behave at school, so I couldn't get into trouble at school or fight at school. So for that like 10 weeks, I was perfect. Not a blemish on my record for that 10 weeks.
See, and now going back to my experience, I'm surprised that there weren't other kids at your school that would then try to egg you on because they knew that you couldn't retaliate.
Maybe
right?
it was a different environment. Maybe.
It's just crazy, right?
Yeah.
But going back, so how do we get into kickboxing?
That's when I started at Triple X. So when I started at Triple X, Anthony Scrow, who's a great kickboxer back in the day, and he's my main sort of kickboxing coach. And when I first started at Triple X, I just did his classes. I didn't really do much jiu-jitsu or wrestling and whatnot because that's what I was there for. I was there to strike because I missed it. And he's like, oh, I trained for probably 6 months, and he's like, oh, you're getting good, you know, like do some pads. And at this stage, this is when I met my head coach now, Mohammed Musali, or Coach Moe as he's quite well known by. He started holding pads for me then. And that's when we first sort of, you know, got to know each other holding pads. And then I fought, when was it, 2018, up in Toukley on Next Generation on Tim Jury's show. And that was good. I got, I think, second round TKO or third round TKO. That was a good fight. And then my next fight, I took, one of the boys at the gym was fighting him and he had to pull out due to an injury. So I took his fight. And then I think my third fight I had on Urban. Yeah, you know, Urban had an event with in a ring in Granville, I think. And then my fourth kickboxing fight was at St. Mary's Band Club. That was good. Bernardo show, Michael Bernardo. And that was good. And then I fought my last kickboxing fight was at St. Mary's again for the WKBF or Massa state title for kickboxing. That was good, but that fight was actually pretty interesting because the guy I fought is actually from my area, so it was like he trained in Campbelltown, I trained in Camden, so it was like Campbelltown versus Camden, and the roof was coming off that place. It was crazy. It was crazy that night, and I ended up knocking him out in the second round with a tape to the face. So that silenced him pretty quick.
Crazy. And so in Muay Thai, you're undefeated, right?
Yeah, 5-0. Yeah.
So why go to MMA?
I was training sort of MMA towards the back end of that. That's when I started getting into jiu-jitsu and wrestling and you know and training those disciplines and whatnot. Because I thought I've always wanted to do MMA like the whole time, but they were like, oh, just focus on kickboxing, see how you go with your fights. And because I wanted to see how I cope with the nerves as well, you know, fighting. Because these were legit fights, like, you know, get your hands wrapped properly and you're there, you know, everything's happening, the proper show.
So talking about nerves, do you remember your very first fight?
Yeah, I was shitting myself. Because I was like, bro, yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if you've ever been to Toukley, but the Beach Vollmer Hotel up in Toukley, it's full of like people and interesting crowd. So they were very rowdy and, you know, that bogany sort of crowd. So they're not quiet at all. They're very loud, which was like very, very different from what I'm used to training in the gym, sparring in the gym, to like going to this place of, you know, I've never been here before, fighting in front of all these people. You know, it was a good experience though. It was a really good experience and I handled it quite well. But obviously, you just don't know what to expect that first fight. You don't know what's going to happen. Once the light's on you, you're like, oh, shit. Like, bro, this is real. This is real. I'm actually in here. Like,
I have to ask, backstage, getting your hands wrapped, was there any moment where you were like thinking to yourself, what am I doing? Like,
every time. It still happens to this
still
day.
happens now?
I'm like, bro, why do I do this? Like, I could just be like kicking back. Like, I could just be in the grandstand. But you know, all the hard work that I've done, I just remind myself, you know, all the hard work you've done, all the sacrifices you've made, like, not everyone gets to do this. Like, you've been given a gift and this is what you're meant to do, which I truly believe this is what I'm meant to do.
And being that it is like the fastest growing sport in the world.
100%. Yeah.
What is it that you think? I mean, exactly that. It's not even about just the fight, like the potential of injuries. It's, as you say, the sacrifices along the way as well. So with all that in mind, what do you think it is that draws so many people to, let's just say, fighting?
I reckon it's pretty much the rawest form of battle that you go back to. You know, back in the Roman times or whatever, they'd get in and fight bare hand to the death. You know, and I think to this day, fighting, any sort of fighting, everyone always loves to watch fights. And then you look at anyone, you look back, you know, to where we've come from, and it's all very violent. Like, you wouldn't survive unless you're out there hunting, or, you know, you are willing to kill, you know, for survival. So.
No, I get it, but I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, if we didn't have cars, we'd be on horseback.
Yeah.
If we weren't on horseback, we'd be walking. But the fact that we have cars, we now no longer have to walk, and so you know what I'm trying to say. So by that theory is like, yes, back then it was like a mode of survival.
Yeah.
But we don't need to do it to survive anymore.
Yeah, we choose it as a sport. So,
right.
Yeah.
So like, and I get it from a spectator's point of view, like the entertainment value.
Yeah.
But as an athlete, what, as I say, what draws you? Like when, as you say, and like, I was hoping that, and this is the crazy thing, because you never know what people are going to say, but I was kind of thinking you'd be like, yeah, the first fight, I was kind of like, what am I doing? But now I'm kind of in that routine, that rhythm, that it's kind of, but you said, no, you have those same thoughts every fight, and you have to keep reminding yourself, this is why I do it.
Yeah.
So what, like that's what I'm getting at. Like what is it that, like, when you really sit back and you think about it and you're like, why am I doing this? What is that why?
I just love the whole competition of it. So I love testing myself against the other person, you know, and obviously coming out on top and testing myself in unarmed combat, in that I've beaten him with my bare hands, you know, with my body pretty much. You know, we've both elite fighters have been put to the test, and I've come out on top. I've beaten him, I've broken him, and I've won, because I'm very competitive. I have a very competitive nature, and as well as that, the whole preparation of it. You know, I love doing this sort of stuff. I love doing the media and everything and whatnot, and doing podcasts and stuff like that. And I love letting people into my life and you know, getting it all out there, and, you know, being in the limelight, you could say. I love that sort of stuff.
And like, because that's the other funny thing I found about, like, obviously you've got yourself an agency that works behind you, and the reason I mean, I always say to people, you should get a good agent. So it's not funny, but what I find funny is that I've had pros, when I've spoken to them, that are still running their own marathon, right? And I'm like, how can you be a pro and you still don't have that agency behind you, right? Which is really pushing you, where obviously you're about to step into the pro circuit, but you obviously haven't. But what's the thought process behind that? Because, or I guess what I'm trying to say is you're a bit of an early adapter, in the sense of, like, I guess you see the necessity or the importance of having representation, or how does that all work?
Of course. As well as being a fighter, I think you have to be smart, you know, outside of the cage as well. And this is what, you know, me and my team always talk about, you know, making steps and putting things in place to further my career. And one of them was getting a manager. So shout out to Bass at Phoenix Sport Management. He's jumped on board, you know, now that I'm turning pro and want to further my career. And then he's sorted out the deal with Eternal and signed that contract. And because I couldn't find anyone to fight at amateur. The last person I fought on Beast, they had to fly from Tasmania. He was the only, like, person to fight there. So we didn't really have a choice in that. I had to sort of turn pro.
But you did say already, because I did watch another podcast of yours, and I think that was from 2020.
Yeah.
And I believe you were already saying that you were looking at turning pro. No, actually, actually I lie. You did say you were like, I'll look at turning pro in about 3 years, I think you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
But then you put an Instagram post up, I think, last year, and you were like,
Yeah.
who wants to see me turn pro
Yeah.
before the end of the year?
Yeah, so that's when we were sort of talking, because after my fight in June, we couldn't get a fight, and then obviously we went back into lockdown as well. But as well as that, we couldn't get matches or couldn't get fights. Even if there was fights, we couldn't get a match. So we're like, what are your thoughts on turning pro? And I was like, I'm ready, because I've been ready for a while now to turn pro. We just wanted that experience at amateur and that fight experience before I turned pro, because it's completely different when you turn pro. It's literally completely different way of fighting, different way of approaching a fight. Everything has to be done properly. Yeah.
So I want to ask you on that. So, because, you know, I had the same with Harry Garside when he was on at the time. He hadn't turned pro yet. He has since then.
Yeah.
And I like to always think, so in your eyes, when you say it's totally different, right? And it's always good to have hindsight as well. But like right now, between amateurs and between pros, in your eyes, what do you see the major differences? And the only reason I ask is hopefully, you know, you're right, and hopefully we'll be able to get you on at a later stage again, and we'll actually be able to go, were you right? Or was it totally different? So right now, just looking forward, what do you see? Like what is it in pros, apart from obviously you're getting paid, which is a big factor.
Of course,
but apart from that, what do you see the major differences?
Obviously 5-minute rounds opposed to 3. As well as that is the level of competition as well. All the pros in Australia are beasts. You know, they're not pro for no reason, you know. And that's what I wanted to test myself against the pros, because I know at that pro level, no one's going to back out of a fight. You're not going to not be able to find a fight, you know. There's that many welterweights out there to find fights with. It's endless. So I can get experience on a good stage on Eternal and pretty much work my way to that UFC.
And can I ask you about your Eternal contract?
Yeah.
So obviously, it's what I like about Eternal is they do now exclusive deals, right?
Yes,
And I've been saying that for years. Like we had you know, a bit to do with some of the leagues before. And look, I get it as well. It's hard to give fighters an exclusive deal because the money, right? The money side of things. It's hard for some of these promotions to straight up, because it's unfair. If I can't offer you 3 fights a year, it's unfair for me to say, well, you can't fight on any other show, right? And that was always the problem, was that a lot of these organizations, they're like, look, we can offer you a fight, but we can't offer you 3. So if you want to fight on our promotion this week and then another promotion in a month's time, that's on you, right? But I also felt that was kind of bad, because, you know, sometimes you come across these really good fighters and they're fighting on every promotion, and you're kind of like, mate, you should somehow lock these guys in. And I kind of feel like Eternal is starting to do that.
Yeah, which is good.
Which is really good, right? Like I really, like, at the moment, I think what they're doing is really, really good.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about what they're doing is they never bring shows to Sydney.
Exactly. That's
right.
What everyone always says to me, bro, when are you fighting in Sydney again? I'm like, I'm signed by a company who doesn't come to Sydney. I'm like, I know, there's nothing I can do.
And have you asked them why? Like, is it to do with the Sporting Commission?
I would say it's got something to do with the Sporting Commission of New South Wales. It'd have to, because they would be difficult to get permits and whatnot to hold shows and stuff like that. I can imagine it's a whole shit show of trying to get it.
Because I know Queensland are pretty loose when it comes to commissions. I think it's like non-existent.
Yeah.
I know that Eternal, because I've been to an Eternal show down in Melbourne, so I know that they do shows in Melbourne.
Yeah.
But then majority of the time they're in Perth.
Yes. Perth.
Which is interesting now too, because the 2 fight cards, and I believe you're on
Perth February 26th in Perth.
In Perth.
That's now.
Now, have they spoke?
They've cancelled it. Yeah, they canned the show, but I'm waiting for a call from a manager at the moment about the change of dates and opponent, because my opponent was from Perth. So there's going to be a change in dates and opponent. When that is, I'm not too sure, but unfortunately that fight will no longer go ahead from the Premier. Thanks to the Premier of WA.
And how does that make you feel? I have to say as well, like, because were you already in fight camp? Yeah, because you're saying
Yeah.
February 26th, right?
Yeah,
So
I was pumping it. Yeah, going hard. Yeah.
so you're in fight camp and you get the
Yep.
call now that it's no, like, can you just talk a little bit about, I guess, the emotions that run behind there? Like, how far were you into fight camp? And what are the emotions? Receiving a
Yeah.
call from your manager saying, I've
Yeah.
got you a fight. And then I guess, what are the emotions that run with the manager calling again going, that fight's no longer going ahead?
Yeah, when you get the I've got you a fight, that's the best feeling because you're like, oh yeah, here we go. Like it's time to get ready. But then for you to do like 2.5, 3 weeks of hard work and as most of the fighters would know, all the sacrifices that go into camp, the shit you miss out on, the normal everyday life, things you can't do, partying with your mates and shit like that I miss out on is gone to waste because I don't mind making those sacrifices for a fight. I know why I'm making them. But when you get the call that, it's no longer going ahead because of COVID, which is already pretty much pissed everyone off. Everyone's over it. And then for it to be pulled again, this is like the third fight I've had pulled because of COVID. It just like really pissed me off. But because it's out of my control, like there's nothing we can do about it. You can't really get too worked up about it. So I try and stay on the same path in that, my coaches and whatnot talk to me and say, bro, like there's nothing we can do. Come on, we'll just keep working hard, keep going hard, and stay on that path to glory.
So do you though look at Eternal right now and go, I believe March?
I hope so.
I think they're in the Gold Coast in March. Like,
Yeah.
Do you kind of look at that and go, I mean, it'll be a different opponent because if you're saying he's Perth based, but like, do you kind of like look and go, hey,
we'll see.
Look, I'm already in fight camp. Get me on this, or are you kind of like, I want to like come back off fight camp now and then look at it at a later date?
So when we worked out the dates for February, because my teammate Crazy Horse he's on March 18 in Gold Coast, and I couldn't jump on that show because I'm going on holidays that week. So that was scratched. We couldn't do that one, which is annoying because I booked a holiday last year. And you just sort of book it like, book it, we'll work it out. But of course, it just lines up perfectly with the show that I wanted to be on. Because of course, I want to fight on the same show as Kay. That'd be mad. We always rock it. We're on the same card together. But they're looking at maybe April or something. Would be a good date for me now.
And who comes up with your I need to know who's involved in coming up with your fight names. Crazy Horse and yours Deadshot. Like
mine was given to me by my head coach Moe. He gave me that one, which was a long time in the making. I think I only got it like a year ago or a year and a half ago, because I was always pestering like, bro, I need a name. Like I wanted to make shirts up. I need something. I need a trademark. I need something. And so they came up with Deadshot. Just because of the way I finish fights, like I'm so accurate and just hit, precise with my shots. And if you've seen how I finish my fights, they're not always pretty. They're pretty violent.
Well, yeah, as I said, I jumped on the old YouTube and checked out a couple of your fights. Also, I saw the head kick that you posted on your gram as well. So I didn't actually that was the entire fight, right? You finished that.
Yes.
Was that just the finish, or was that was the entire fight?
No, that was just the finish.
Okay.
Yeah. So that you're talking about the one at Urban, yeah? That was my first MMA fight. They put me against Cash Douglas, who was a pretty experienced guy, actually. So they put me against him for my first MMA fight and walked in there. I was a lot more nervous for that fight than I was for my first kickboxing fight, because MMA, there's no headgear, there's small gloves, you're in there. Like, this dude's a beast. Like, I'm like, bro, I'm only 19 years old and you're throwing me in here with like this grown man. I'm like, fuck. But my coaches, did their job in their preparation. They believed to me. And then once I stepped that foot on the mat, that's it. It's all over. I'm good then. That's when it's my cage. That's where I'm in control. You're not gonna do shit to me. Like, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Have you ever had a sinking feeling? Like, have you ever felt like you were out of your depth?
Not really. I'm pretty confident in my preparation. It's more the uncertainty. Fighters would know this. you're getting in the back. It's the uncertainty of you don't know what's going to happen. You have no idea where the fight could go. You could spend the whole time on your feet, just banging away. You could end up the whole fight on your back. You could end up the whole fight against the fence. You never know how it's gonna play out or what's gonna happen.
No, I guess because your one and only loss, right, was IMAF.
Yes,
up in the Gold Coast.
On the Gold Coast, yeah, that was against the world champion Ramazan Gitanov, who was from Bahrain, originally from Dagestan. So pretty much just out wrestled me the whole fight and made me realize that I need to wrestle more.
Did you feel out of your depth though there?
Yeah, definitely. That feeling of basically being thrown around like a rag doll in a fight like that, and just the feeling of their control and strength is unreal.
And is it something now that kind of went like, I need to work on my wrestling to be able to defend wrestling, or you want to work on your wrestling because you want to start ragdolling other people, or are you wanting to stick to your striking?
Both. No, both. Definitely both. Like after that fight happened, a switch clicked, in not only my mind, but my coach's minds as well, in that, wow, this is okay. This is what the international, circuit's like. This is what we need to be prepared for. And so we've been training ever since, and my wrestling is crazy now. Like the level that I've come up with my wrestling, not only offensively but defensively as well, in that I'm ragdolling people now. If you look at my last fight, I was throwing him around.
And I have to ask though, you never wanted to give IMAF another go? Because and the only reason I ask now is because, as you're aware, they're currently over in, is it Dubai or Abu Dhabi?
Abu Dhabi, yeah.
Abu Dhabi. Obviously, in the world's over there. So now, I mean, obviously, once again, hindsight's a beautiful thing. And at the time, you thought, okay, I've got this pro fight lined up and so forth. But now hindsight, knowing that fight's fallen through, and technically you haven't had the pro fight yet. Yeah. Do you kind of sit back and go, damn, I should have really gone with the IMAF team?
Not really, because I was invited to go end of last year by Brian Ebersol, and he said, we'd like you to represent in middleweight, because you obviously have to weigh in on the day, so 84 would be my division. And I thought about it, and I spoke to Moe about it, and we're like, we already made up the decision to turn pro anyway, so we're like, it just felt like a step back. Like, even though, of course, the experience would have been great, represent Australia, go over there, unreal competition. In hindsight, as you said, it would have been good. But I think I'm just on a different path that I want to go pro, and my mind is on going pro. It's not in amateur.
So when you keep talking about path, where do you see your path going? Like I'm assuming the end goal is to hit the majors and go UFC, or is it just UFC, or would you be happy to go Bellator, ONE FC, or are you really focused in on trying to make the UFC? And I guess, what does your path kind of look like?
Look, I think everyone has that discussion on what promotion you want to be on. I think UFC is the best exposure wise, maybe not pay wise, but obviously exposure wise and whatnot, I think it'd be the best pathway for me. And I think that championship belt in the UFC would be the most prestigious sort of achievement that any mixed martial artist could gain.
And what does the path to the UFC look like? Have you ever thought of that? Because, with fighters, we always talk about visualizing, right?
Of course, I do a lot of visualization.
With fights especially, you visualize the walkout. You visualize, once you're there, you don't feel like you're
100%,
right?
Yeah.
So have you ever thought, or is that too far in the future right now?
No,
do you ever go, okay, well, I don't know. I guess as an example, I'm going to go to Eternal right now. Yeah. I'm going to fight out. I don't know. What kind of a deal are you on?
Three fights.
Three fights. I'm going to fight 3 fights. I'm going to win them all. I don't know. Win the title.
Yeah.
And from there, hopefully go to the Ultimate Fighter or go to the Contender Series or go to like, when you look at your path, like, and if you were to write it, how would you see your path to the UFC?
Obviously, yeah, the long-term goal is UFC, but at the same time, I've got to worry about the here and now and worry about what's in front of me right now. And that's, I'm signed to Eternal. I'm on a good promotion. I've got good people around me. So all my job is now, my management's taken care of, my coaching's taken care of. All I need to worry about is getting the fights and finishing them in spectacular fashion from now until whenever I get that call up.
Nice. And I mean, look, once again, it helps with Eternal because they're actually on UFC Fight Pass.
100%.
So once again, like, you know, and believe it or not, like the guys at the UFC, they've got guys watching.
100%
right?
they do. Of course, yeah.
And I know that because, as I said, we used to deal with a few of the other promotions, and we'd literally have phone calls from the UFC at 2 a.m. in the morning, and they're like, why did this happen? Why did that happen? It's like, oh, you're sitting over there watching this thing?
Yeah.
So I don't know who's watching it, but definitely someone from their part, like their side of things is definitely watching it. So 3 fights, is that a 1 year deal?
That's a 1 year deal, yeah, for this year. So 3 fights.
And then have they put any sort of thing that potentially they'll give you a title shot in those 3 fights, or there's no talk of that?
There's no talk about that at the moment. I think just make my debut first and earn that shot. So I think do what I do best, go out there and finish people, you know, make people want to watch me and want to go, hey, that's Deadshot, you know, get that exposure, get that highlight reel going and just fight. That's all I want to do is fight as a professional. That's why I quit my job. That's why I make all these sacrifices, you know, that's why I do this pretty much. This is what I want to do with my life.
Nice. And if you were to emulate any fighter that you kind of like see or look up to now, who would that be?
Well, at the moment, I wouldn't really say a fighter right now. I'm a big fan of GSP in his prime. Massive fan of GSP and the way he fights and whatnot. And someone else that I look up to would be Donald Cerrone as well. I like Donald's style. I love everything about him. Maybe he's not as dedicated as he should be, or he could have got to the top. But I just like his whole overall attitude in that he does stuff outside of fighting as well and enjoys his life. You know, has fun, does all this stuff. He doesn't revolve his life solely around fighting, which I think can be a little just like, I don't think it works, especially for me. I couldn't be all about fighting all the time. I need that break and I need that space away in my activities that I do outside of fighting.
So I have to ask then, what is it that you do outside of fighting? I mean, you've just mentioned that you're about to go on a holiday, but like, whether it's holidaying or whatever, but like, what is it that you enjoy outside of fighting? Like, what gives you inner peace?
Definitely just going away with my mates. So go full driving, camping, that sort of thing. I love that sort of stuff. You know, I'm not a really big person on going out, which is another reason why I work security, because I don't really go out anyway. I'm not a fan. I've never really been a fan of going out. My fun is, you know, going camping with the boys, having a few beers around the fire. You know, that sort of thing. That's what I really enjoy. And as well, where I live at the moment with my girlfriend, on a property, so we have plenty of space out there to ride dirt bikes and, you know, shoot guns, carry on like that. So it's really fun to sort of get back from training, get away from that stuff, let your hair down, go for a ride on the dirt bikes and just, you know, and then get away from that, and then come back and that, all right, time to train. When it's on, it's on. But yeah, it's just good to be able to get away from fighting sometimes and go camping and get away from life, really, just an escape.
And how do you do the balancing act between, I guess, you know, fight life, work life, family life?
Yeah, it's not
friends. Like
it's not easy, as any fighter would know. You know, it's definitely not easy to balance everything. So my training structure and whatnot is definitely taken care of by Moe, my head coach. So he's in control of all that. But as well as that, he's a part of my life. He's a part of all the boys' lives. So we are very in touch with each other in that he knows everything that happens in my life. So there's not really anything in my life that he doesn't know about. So he structures the training around that. He knows I like going away with my mates. He knows I like going to enjoy myself. So he knows when I need that. So he'll say, all right, you need some time away. Go away and do what you need to do and come back. But when we're training, it's on. With the family aspect, that's also, quite hard because you take so much time away training and whatnot. It's hard. Most of the sessions are all at night, so you don't get that time with your family and stuff. Like I'm one of 3. So I have my younger brother who's 17 and my little sister who's 7. So it's hard. Like I don't get to spend much time with her and stuff. And I try and spend as much time with my family as I can, but they've made a sacrifice of that. They don't see me very much because I'm training so much. And it's not easy on them. I can imagine it wouldn't be easy. It's not easy for me not seeing them, but as well, I live with my girlfriend, as I said before, and she's pretty cool. She's so supportive of what I do, but it's hard on her as well. And it's hard on me not seeing her and being able to do some stuff that other couples might be able to do. So that's where we go on holidays. We're going to go on holidays together and just have a week away, just spend some time with each other, quality time.
And I have to ask, does she do martial arts or she's not into that?
No, she fights at the pubs. No, she's strictly a pub brawler. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She'll know what I'm talking about.
So I have to ask then, does she start fights at your pub? And if so, have you had to escort her out because you're working?
No. She knows. She gets a bit protective of me. So if girls are trying to touch me and whatnot and stuff like that, she likes to tell them who's boss. So that's where most of the fights come from. But it's all fun and games. It's all fun and games. It's good.
And so, what have you guys got planned? If you don't mind me asking, like what is this holiday that you're about to take?
We're actually going to the Gold Coast itself. Actually, the week before the Eternal show. So we're just going to go up there at a holiday house and kick back for a week and eat some food and go out and enjoy. She's never been to any of the theme parks up there, so we're just going to go there and do that. So yeah, enjoy it.
And you have to, if you're going to Gold Coast, you have to.
You got to
do the theme parks, and you have to do Dracula's. That's definitely one.
What's Dracula's? I haven't heard of that.
You haven't been to Dracula's?
No,
it's like this haunted house.
Yeah.
Cabaret show.
Yeah.
Yeah. You literally it's a dinner, right? So it's got a roller coaster that takes you to your table.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. A little ghost train.
Yeah.
And then they put on a full show. Like it's not bad. Like as I say, once you've done it, you've done it. But like for a date night, like the food's half good.
Yeah.
And as I say, like it's good entertainment anyway. Bit of comedy, bit of dance, bit of song, bit of everything.
Dracula's, huh? I'll have to book it.
Dracula's on the Gold Coast. Yeah, I think it's next to Jupiter's or whatever. Like I don't know. Yeah. As I say, it's just one of the things that if you go to the Gold Coast, it's there,
Okay. Good, I'll put it on the list.
But I was going to say, I had a couple of questions come through.
Yeah.
And so I'll ask you the first one. And the first one was, who would win out of a fight between you and Liam?
Oh, that would be Liam, my little brother. Yeah. That would have been against me and Liam. We've had a few fights. I put some holes in the walls at home, so. But I've definitely come out on top, so. Yeah, he doesn't have me in that area.
Okay. The second one that came through, and I mean, you've already answered it, is like, are you single?
Yeah. Nah. I'm taken.
Yeah? Nah.
Yeah. Sorry, ladies. But yeah, no. Happily taken.
Okay, nice. Another one that came through was if you were to have your perfect submission or finish, what would it be? Like, one that you kind of envision, this is how my perfect fight would go. What would it be?
You know what I've always envisioned, which I reckon would be just gangster as, the John Jones, Lyoto Machida finish? I reckon that's gangster. If I could do that and just watch them flop to the floor in front of me and walk off, mate.
I was going to say that's the one where he had him up against the cage, right?
Yeah, the guillotine against the cage.
The guillotine against the cage.
And sleeps him, yeah. That's hectic. I love that. I love watching that.
Yeah, nice. Looking back at your fights, which one, is your most preferred fight for whatever reason?
The best fight that I have would have been my last one because I got to show my grappling, which I've never shown before. So it was really good to show my grappling and to get the submission finish as well, just to top it off. It was great, just because for that camp we were working so much on my wrestling to try and bring it up for the pro scene. So we were trying to level it up, and up to that standard. And I'm only getting better, as the weeks go on. But definitely the head kick knockout, you couldn't beat that. You couldn't beat that.
And was that something you were kind of like planning on, or you just took that shot and
that kick, I reckon I've thrown 100 million times. Honestly, that kick is just from over and over and over and over on the pads. Like, we just do it, and it's that fast and that reactive that as soon as I see it, it's on. Like, there's no thinking, there's no hesitation there. I seen it, bang, straight away.
Toughest fight you've had?
Oh, definitely the my one loss, the IMF fight, for sure.
And is it the toughest just because it is the loss, or is it tough because you just had no answers, or?
Yeah, in that fight, I really didn't have any answers, and I remember being on my back, and my coaches were behind me. They were right behind me, and I remember saying, "Just get up, just get up." I was like, "Bro, I do not know how to get up," and like, I ended up resorting to just, "Come on, bro, is that all you got? Come on, bro." Because he didn't speak much English, but he understood what I was saying, because every time I would say it, he'd hit me harder. So I said, "Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Is that it? Come on, bro." And I was trying to just lock him up so that we got stood up. And the ref eventually stood us up in the second round. I remember getting up and I was thinking, "Fuck, I've got to crack this guy. I've got to fucking give it to him now." And I just lined up. I lined him up with a straight push kick, straight under the chin. And I just see his head just bounce straight back and just comes back down and looks at me with no hesitation. And I was like, "What is this dude made of, bro?" Like, I absolutely cracked him with it. Like, you should have heard it. Like, and the whole crowd there, because obviously we're Aussie, we're going, "Yeah." They thought he was finished because it just cracks his head back. And I thought, "Oh, I've got him here. He's done." And just shoots straight on the legs, bro. Straight on the legs, and I was on my back.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy, right? And it's the one thing I always say about the wrestlers, man. It's also their work ethic, right?
Oh, man. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm surprised you had any energy left when the ref does stand you up, because it's just grueling. And especially when you're constantly trying to fight them off. By the time you get up,
they're just relentless with their wrestling.
Right.
Like, it's just, after that fight, actually, because they were so surprised with my striking and whatnot, his coach, Eldar Khan, who actually fought Khabib in Russia, and he said, "You're welcome to come, to Bahrain and train with us and come over here and learn off us," which I thought was a privilege. I'd love to go over there, and that's still on the cards today, to be able to go over there. Be great, but once again, travel.
So, look, we'll start to wrap it up, but all goes well, what do you see 2022 being like? Like, obviously, you've said now this fight's been cancelled.
Yep.
You're looking at April, but like, if you realistically look down the track now, if I was to say 2022 is the year of what? Yeah.
Just me putting my name on the board, pretty much. So it's me cementing myself in that I'm here. And I want to test myself against some of the best welterweights in Australia. Like, I'm not here to play games or muck around and get easy fights and try and get a clean record to the UFC. I'm here to fight, and I want to fight my way to the UFC, and I want to fight my way there properly. And I want to know that I've earned it to get there.
And have you been keeping an eye on the welterweights? Like, have you got a bit of a hit list?
Yeah. I like to keep up to date with what's happening. Obviously, congratulations to Jack Della Maddalena on the UFC debut. Well done. But
his boxing is clean. Like, even when he was on the Contender Series, I was saying, like, his head movement and everything. Once again, I'd like to see him get tested on the ground. I don't know
Yep.
what his. I mean, you might know. I don't know what his wrestling's like.
I'm not too sure.
But
his fights doesn't last very long.
His boxing is clean.
It's good. I've been keeping an eye on him for quite a while now. Obviously, as one of the top ranked, welterweights, and obviously he got the call up, and props to him. But I have a path that I'm on, and it's going to lead straight there. That'll be me as well. You watch.
So, having a look at the Eternal roster, though, is there anyone specific that you wouldn't mind matching up? And look, I'm not saying like make a call out where, being cheeky about it or anything. Like, I'm just saying like, is there a potential matchup that I guess excites you? What's one that you would really want to wake up for?
Meaning to wake up for, with the belt's up for grabs. So. I mean, look, I'm not really worried about anyone on the roster, and I don't really care who I fight. They're just another person. We prepare for them the same way. But when I know the eyes are on me as well. They know I'm coming. They know who I am, and they're gonna try and duck. There's not going to be too many that's going to put their hand up, I don't think. And if you want to put your hand up, I mean, I'm always ready to go. Like, there's no harm in me. I'll fight anyone, bro. Nice. Well, look, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. For people that do want to jump on your journey, what's kind of the best method for them to kind of keep in touch and as I say, follow along?
Yeah, if you want to follow what I do with my life and whatnot, not just inside the cage, outside the cage, just jump on Instagram with the Deadshot MMA __, and then just Lachlan Stitt MMA on Facebook, and tune in, share, support, and just keep an eye, because the next couple of years are going to be massive, guys. You'll see me at that top tier promotion very soon. I guarantee you that.
Well, there you have it. Some big predictions. Look, I wish you all the best. As I said, you've got a pretty clean record. You do have that one loss. As you said, you've tidied that up. And I am really looking forward to seeing not only what this year holds, but as I say, what the future holds as well. I just want to say thank you for jumping on board. It was great to catch up, and hopefully we can get you on maybe towards the end of the year, and we'll see if any of the fights have come about, and as I said, we'll see if your predictions about pro versus amateur is correct. But until then, that is it.
I'm a one.